ठीक है. So in today's session we'll see uh, okay. So in today's session we'll see mathematical operator. एक बार हम mathematical operator को we'll see again. So basically, when I'm saying mathematical operator, then actually what I mean is, I think, like, did you watch the pre-class video which I shared? जो आपको pre-class video share की गई थी. Did you watch it? Okay, nice. ठीक है. So basically, guys, the first thing is कि when I'm talking about mathematical operator, तो you already know. In that pre-class video, I've already discussed this thing. Like we have something known as additional. Like when you want to do addition. The another thing is subtraction. The third thing is multiplication. Fourth is division. Okay, there is also one more modulus that we'll discuss later. So now, when I'm talking about additional, basically the addition operator. जब मैं addition की बात करता हूँ, so addition is something like when you want to add two numbers. ठीक है? When you will not just add two numbers, like when you want to perform some additional operation. अब now remember one thing, like if I am writing in this way, अगर मैं इस तरह से लिख रहा हूँ, तो मैं आपको कुछ चीज एग्जाम्पल से आपको दिखाता हूँ. So suppose if I'm creating a REPL, Java day 3 lecture 3, and it's on mathematical and comparison. Like we'll also discuss something, some few concept about conditional also. So now the Java file is getting created. So now you can see that like this is the main.java. I'll just remove all of this thing. And now, so basically when I'm talking about addition, to remember one thing, if I'm writing something like this, int sum equals to 5 plus 3, int sum equals to 5 plus 3. So basically in this case what will happen, I will get the result sum. मेरे को यहाँ पे sum मिल जाएगा. Okay, so how can I write this code? Java and main dot java. So if I'm executing the code in this way, then in that case, what will happen? It will give me the output. Okay. ठीक है. So now you can see that 8. But ये addition का मतलब ना change हो जाता है. Like remember one thing कि like when I'm talking about this, so in case of numbers, like when you are using numbers, जब आप numbers use कर रहे हो, when you are using numbers, so in that case it will perform the addition. It will add those number. But what if it is a string? In the case of a string, it will do concatenation. It will attach the first string with the another string. So suppose if I am saying, suppose if I come to this place now, now what I'll do is, basically if I'm writing string, so basically here I'm taking the string data type, and in the string data type, basically I'm writing something known as book, or you can say that session. Okay, or instead of session, I think it will be better if I write code's name. So code's name is basically I'm saying Java. Okay, and then I'm putting a plus, and then I'm putting again a string, and I'm writing a programming. So in that case, what will happen? Let's see this. Now here, if I just print this thing, and instead of this, if I write code's name, so now if I run it, now let's see what will happen. तो यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो द आउटपुट इज कमिंग जावा प्रोग्रामिंग, बट देर इज नो स्पेस इन बिटवीन, देर इज नो स्पेस बिटवीन जावा एंड प्रोग्रामिंग. So if I put a space, then in that case I'll get a result. So plus is actually behaving, but in a different way. If you are playing with integers, then in that case you will get in final sum as an integer. If you are playing with string, so in that case, if you are putting plus in between string, then in that case it will give you the concatenated string. ठीक है, जावा प्रोग्रामिंग को ऐड नहीं किया जा सकता, दैट्स व्हाई यू आर गेटिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ रिजल्ट. नाउ सिमिलरली, basically if I, so guys, remember one thing for in today's session, you need to keep your replit open. Okay, I'll keep on giving you the task. With every task I'll give you 1 minute or 2 minutes, it depends upon the task length. Now what is your task is, what you need to do, your task is to basically just quickly open your replit. For addition, you will be having two variables. Okay. And for string, you need to give me the full name. You need to print the full name. So basically, you need to print the full name. And full name kaise? Full name mein basically there will be two things. There will two things come. That is the first name and the last name plus last name. अब ये फर्स्ट और लास्ट नेम को आप कुछ भी दो, बट यू नीड टू क्विकली डू इट. सो जस्ट क्विकली डू दिस एक्सरसाइज. Just you have A10, B5, and you need to print the final value. The final value which I want is sum and full name. So this is your task. Just quickly do it. Let me know on the chat like once you're done. Those who didn't get the pre-class video, you need to check your LMS platform, or just also yesterday Vaibhav also posted a message on the general channel. आपको आपके LMS में you will get it. So let me know once you're done. Can I directly not change my theme of it? ठीक है, चलो बाद में देखते हैं इसको अभी. अभी now let's move to this part, and now you can see this like I have something like sum equal to 5 plus 3. Now what I'll do is I'll create another file that will be problem1.java. Now if I create this, now in that case what I need to do is the task was like, first I'll copy this. your task was to basically a equal to 10, b equal to 5, and I need to give the full name. So if I write int a equals to 10, b equals to 5, b equals to 5. Now in that case, what I'll do is I'll find the sum. Int sum equals to a plus b. And after that, what I'll do, I'll just write system.out.println, and I am writing the basically the value is sum. Okay. So now in that case, what will happen? Now I will get my sum. Now there are two things. There are two more things, that is string first name, that is uh, Vidas last name, Veer. So basically, what I'll do is, if I want to print this, so in that case, I will first do the concatenation of these two. So if I want to do the concatenation string, so it will be like in this way. So now you can see this full name equals to first name plus we're adding something like some space in between and then giving a last name. And then if I just directly print this, then in that case, if I write full name, so now if I run this code, Java problem one.java, and now it will give me the output. ठीक है, तो 15 Sugidar Sweer, like it is actually giving me the output. Now let's come to the next thing. So the next thing is key. Basically, I was talking about like this thing, first name, last name, and so now let's come to the next part. So now similarly, you can do multiplication. Similarly, you can do multiplication and you can do division. Multiplication and you can do division also. Now, I just want to talk about something like when you are performing operation with different data type, performing operation with different data type, operation with different data types. So, like the data type which you already know, जिन data types के बारे में मैंने बात करी थी, तो suppose I'm just taking, I'll be taking some few data types like int and float and double. So remember one thing, when I'm talking about int is something like a small bucket, small, small drum. Float is something like a bigger drum, which can hold decimal values also. And the double is something like a bigger drum. Okay. So remember one thing, whenever you want to put a int value inside a float, then it is possible. Whenever you want to put float value inside a double, then it is possible. But if you want to put a float value inside a int, then it will not possible. जैसे so just say if I create another one, problem2.java. Now here if I copy it, now if I want to perform some operation, अगर मैं कुछ operation perform करना चाहता हूँ, तो first of all let's see the integer division. Integer division. So in integer division, the main thing is कि अगर देखो, if whenever you used to perform some operation a plus b, so this is something known as operand. This is known as operand, and this is known as operator, whatever you. नाउ अगर इफ यूर बोथ ऑपरेंड इज इंटीजर, अगर आपका ऑपरेंड भी डिवीजन वाला ऊपर वाला भी इंटीजर है और दूसरा वाला भी इंटीजर है, इंटीजर प्लस इंटीजर, लाइक वट एवर ऑपरेटर यू आर परफॉर्मिंग, then in that case the final output which will come will also be an integer, will also be an integer. If you are actually doing int with float, now remember one thing, when you are performing this kind of operation, then in that case the result which you will get, it's something like a float, because now you are putting a bigger data type, क्योंकि आपने एक bigger data type को यहाँ पे रखा. So this is how this thing works. So if I just come to this place and if I write यहाँ पे like suppose int x equals to 2/3. Okay. So now what is happening here? Suppose अगर मैं यहाँ पे variable भी लिख लेता हूँ int a equal to 15, int b equal to 7. So now if I divide 15 by 7, then in that case I will write a by b. And if I do system.out.println, then in that case, if I run it, problem one dot, sorry, problem two, problem two dot. Now if I run it, then in that case, what will happen? The answer which I will get is in integer. Why? What happened? Like in this case, क्या हुआ? जब हमने integer को integer के साथ divide किया, जब हमने integer को integer के साथ divide किया, तो in that case, what happened actually? So when I'm saying 15 divided by 7, so you know that like the output will be something 7.2.1 something. But now in this case, what is happening? Since you know that like जब ये division operation होता है, तो if this division operation is happening in this like x equal to a by b, तो वो क्या करेगा? Basically इन दोनों को check करेगा. Basically what is the data type? So the data type is 15 and 7. 7 divided by 2.1, but 1 will get removed. Why? Because 2 को जिसके अंदर store करना है वो एक integer है. So what it will do? It will just store the integer only. It will not store the decimal value. So that is the main concept. So that is the main part of it. So if I come to this place, now you can see this. Like if I divided this by like integer by integer, then in that case I'll get an integer. But अगर मैं ऐसे लिखूं तो float x equals to a divided b. So float y, sorry. In that case, if I print a float value, now what do you think? What will be the output? क्या output आएगा? So some are saying 2, some are saying 2.0. So if I run this, let's see what will be the output. So here you can see that the output is coming 2.0. तो मैं यहाँ पे ना थोड़ा ऐसे भी लिख देता हूँ, थोड़ा देखने में अच्छा लगेगा. So now you can see this, and like this is something like x value and y value. So if I run it, so x is actually 2, y equal to 2.0. Why? Because when it is dividing, तो ये दोनों actually integer है. A divided by a is integer, 15 is integer. 15 and 7 both are integers actually. So if I do this operation in this way, then in that case, what will happen? You know that like if I divide 15 by 7, so 15 will get divided by 7. So both are, since both are integer, then the output will be integer only. तो जो इंटीजर आएगा वो आउटपुट आएगा 2. अब क्योंकि उसको पता है कि जिस 2 को ये 15 डिवाइडेड बाय 7 2 करने के बाद इस 2 को कहाँ स्टोर करना है, फ्लोट के अंदर, तो फ्लोट डेसिमल वैल्यूज को रखता है, तो वो क्या करेगा, अपने आप पे 2.0 लगा देगा. ओके, सो दैट इज द थिंग विच इज हैपनिंग. सो दैट इज द मेन इशू नाउ. लाइक बट I don't want this output. I want the complete answer. Then how will I get it? तो वो तभी पॉसिबल है, या तो आप किसी एक वेरिएबल को फ्लोट बना दो। मैंने इसको फ्लोट बना दिया। अब क्या होगा, जो डिवीजन होगा फ्लोट बाय इंटीजर होगा। सिंस फ्लोट डिवाइड बाय इंटीजर, सॉरी फ्लोट डिवाइड बाय इंटीजर, देन इन दैट केस लेट्स सी व्हाट विल हैपन। तो पहले मैं इसको एक बार के लिए कमेंट करता हूँ, एक्स की वैल्यू को, अभी सिर्फ वाई की वैल्यू को देखते हैं। ये ऐसा करते हैं, पहले एक्स की वैल्यू को देखते हैं सिर्फ। पहले ये देखते हैं कि एस की वैल्यू क्या प्रिंट होती है, क्योंकि यहाँ पे मैंने ए को फ्लोट कर दिया, बी को 7, एंड नाउ हियर आई एम स्टोरिंग इनसाइड अ इंटीजर। सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक, व्हाट विल बी द आउटपुट, क्या आउटपुट आएगा? ओके, टू ओनली, एरर टू। तो guys, if I just run this code, now let's see what will happen. So it will give me an error. It will give me an error. And why this error is coming? Because आप क्या कर रहे हो? When you are dividing, when you are dividing float by an integer, जब आपने float को integer के साथ divide किया, तो जब आप मेरे को बताइए, अगर आप float को integer के साथ divide करोगे तो आउटपुट किस पे आएगा? float में आएगा, integer में आएगा? आउटपुट उसमें आएगा जो सबसे बड़ा डेटा टाइप है, बिकॉज वट एवर इज द बिगर ड्रम। सो आउटपुट इज कमिंग इन फ्लोट। नाउ सिंस द आउटपुट इज कमिंग फ्लोट, नाउ यू ऑलरेडी नो दिस थिंग कि सिंस द आउटपुट इज कमिंग इन फ्लोट, इसका जो आउटपुट है फ्लोट में आ रहा है, तो वो फ्लोट इंटीजर के अंदर कैसे स्टोर हो जाएगा? क्योंकि फ्लोट इज समथिंग लाइक अ बिगर ड्रम, और एक बड़ा ड्रम हम छोटे ड्रम के अंदर स्टोर नहीं कर सकते। ओके, तो इफ यू वांट टू स्टोर इट, अगर आप इसको स्टोर करना चाहते हो, तो इन दैट केस व्हाट यू नीड टू डू इज, आपको इसके डेटा टाइप को भी बदलना पड़ेगा। एंड सिंस आई हैव डन इट, नाउ इन दैट केस व्हाट आई विल डू, जस्ट गिव मी वन। So basically, here you can see this, like when I'm dividing something with something, so जो आउटपुट आएगा इसका वो फ्लोट आएगा, और फ्लोट को फ्लोट ही स्टोर कर सकता है, क्योंकि आइदर फ्लोट आप लिख सकते हो और आइदर यू कैन राइट डबल, बिकॉज बिगर ड्रम या उसके साइज का ड्रम, बट you cannot say कि like here you can put int. So that's why the output is coming. So now we know that, like if I run this code, now let's see what will be the output. Now I am getting the complete thing. Why? Because when you divided float with int, then it actually make the जो division हुआ वो float के according ही होगा, मतलब whatever decimal values you will get it. तो decimal value तो मिल गई, when I when I get this decimal value, now I need to store this decimal value inside x, so x will store it. X will say that okay fine, I'll store it. Now if I come to y, and if I just print this value, so you can see that y equal to a divided by b. So now you can see that both of the statements are right now same. ये दोनों statement same है इस समय। Okay, अब इसकी जगह अगर मैं डबल लिख दूं, what do you think, whether it will execute or not, whether I will get my y value or not? क्यों नहीं मिलेगी? डबल तो बड़ा ड्रम है ना। वही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ आपको, इवन अगर ये फ्लोट है, फ्लोट को इंटीजर से आपने डिवाइड भी किया, बट इसको आप बड़े ड्रम में रख सकते हो। So now you can see that even you can store bigger values. Even float has some limit, but you can store even bigger values. Getting it? So basically, क्योंकि डबल हमारा एक बिगर ड्रम है, एंड दिस बिगर ड्रम कैन स्टोर इवन फ्लोट वैल्यू ऑल्सो, बट इफ यू राइट हेयर, अगर आपने यहाँ पे लिख दिया इंट, then in that case if you run it, then in that case what will happen, let's see. In that case it will give you an error, because lossy conversion from float to int. How can you store a float value inside a int? तो ये वाली चीज ठीक है, तो इसलिए मैंने यहाँ पे डबल लिखा. So that is the main फंडा. Now let's come to the next part. So this is something known as division. Okay, when you are doing the division, when you are doing the float division, when you are doing the integer division, always remember one thing. जो भी बड़ा ड्रम है उसके अंदर कुछ भी स्टोर कर लो, वो रख लेगा. Whatever is the bigger drum, that can store anything. But when you are using smaller drum on the left hand side, and on right hand side, if you are making the division of bigger data type, then in that case smaller जो data type है that cannot hold the value of bigger data type. Okay, so there is a difference. That's why data types are actually provided. Now here I'm providing you one code. Okay, and what you need to do is you need to tell me the result of it. आपको मेरे को इसका output बताना है. तो problem3.java. Okay, now here this is the code, and I'm also providing this code on your chat. एक बार आप सोचो and tell me what is the output of this code. Just process it once and tell me what is the output of this code. Okay, got it. Now, what everyone is saying, 2.33, 2.2, 2.3. Okay, ठीक है. So now let's see the output of it. ठीक है, एक बार इसका output देख लेते हैं कि इसका output क्या है. ठीक है, I'm sharing my screen. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm executing this. ठीक है, अब मैं यहाँ पे लिखता हूँ Java. So here instead of this I'll write problem3. Up now you can see this. Here I'm dividing 7 divided by 3, integer division result, floating integer division, and like this is the basically double division. Now let's see what will happen. So the first output is actually coming. Where is the third one? Sorry, मैंने कुछ गलत प्रोग्राम वो कर लिया. Problem3.java. So now if I execute it, now let's see what will happen. So now you can see that integer division result is coming to. Why? Because integer is getting divided by integer only. When I'm dividing this value, basically this is actually you can say that this is something like a ये double value actually. ये double value है. And when you are dividing double with an integer, then in that case you are getting a like this thing, like a floating point, like this is the number, this is the output which you are getting. Now, if you divide a double value with a like if you divide integer value with a floating value, so the data type which you are using it's double. So double can hold this value. अब यहाँ पे ना I just want to tell you one thing. What if you want to represent this in a float manner? अगर आप float value represent करना चाहते हो, तो एक बात याद रखना कि जब भी आप इंटीजर की बात करते हो, suppose whenever you are talking about integer, int x equals to 3. So this is something like an integer. But if I'm talking about a floating value, so if you are talking about a floating value, so then how can you represent float? It is something 2.2 something, then you need to write a literal f. So this will actually represent a float value. And now when you want to represent a double value, so double value is something आप directly लिख सकते हो 3.45. जो भी आप decimal value लिखते हो, that is by default double. But if you want to represent a floating value, तो floating value में it's something like you cannot hold a larger value. मतलब उसमें एक limit होती है. but double can hold a very long values also. So that is a basic concept which you need to remember, right? So now the question here is कि where we actually use this concept, हम इसको use कहाँ करते हैं? हम बेसिकली इस फंडे को यूज कहाँ करते हैं, लाइक दिस मैथमेटिकल ऑपरेशन थी. So I'll just show you. One second. Just showing you. So basically, if I share my screen, now you will see this. Like this is an Amazon, and on Amazon you can see that like there is a cart, and in the cart I have like added two elements. Like there's one book and this one thing, this one kadai. Now you can see this like how the total price is getting calculated, like this one and this one. Now if I increase the quantity, now what is happening? 2 into 1699 plus like this price 1750 and with the quantity. And then how my total price is getting calculated. So basically quantity into the price, quantity into the price, and this is how my final price is getting calculated. अब इस पे basically if I want to write a code, problem 4 dot Java. Now what I'll do is basically if I just copy it, this is my problem 4. I'll write here problem 4, and in this case I'll write int quantity. ठीक है, ये Q1 है, that is quantity 1, कि पहले प्रोडक्ट की जो क्वांटिटी है वो कितना लेना चाहता हूँ. Suppose I'm saying I want to buy 3 quantity. Now int quantity 1, quantity 1. And what is the product? Suppose there is some product which I want to buy is, and that the product 1 price, first product price. So now suppose the first product price is 3000. Now similarly, if I want to do int quantity 2, like it is showing the quantity of the second product. So 4, and now if I write the int second product price, so it will give me this. Now if I want to find this final price equal to, then what it will be? It will be quantity 1 into first product price plus quantity into second product price. So this is how we are actually calculating this. So you can see that quantity 1 into first product price plus first quantity 2 into, so this will actually give me the final price. तो ये मुझे फाइनल प्राइस दे देगा. Getting it? So now in this case, it will give me the final output. Like one of the student asked how to check if there is any variable and it is holding a double value. तो उसके लिए we have something known as, हमारे पे एक टाइप चेक करने के लिए फंक्शन होता है, that I'll discuss, don't worry. But अभी के लिए the thing which I've said, like if you are representing with f, so that is something like a floating, and if you are representing directly with two dot some decimal value, that will be double. So now this is how you can calculate the final price. Now let's come to the next example, that is modulus. अब चलते हैं modulus पे. Modulus. तो modulus is something is it is actually a remainder. ये remainder. इसको हम कहते हैं basically we used to represent it with the percentage sign. हम इसको percentage sign से represent करते हैं. Okay. So now if I want to find a basically अगर मैं remainder निकालना चाहता हूँ, if you are writing this 7 modulus 2, then what will be the value? So it will be, you need to divide 7 by 2, so 2 3s are 6, and then it will give 1, and now 1 will be your answer. So this is something like a remainder. So whenever you use this modulus sign, this is actually giving a remainder. Okay. Now, like if I do 7 modulus 4, then in that case, it will give me a remainder. 7, 4 1 is 4, 7, 3. So it will give me 3. So this is actually providing me the remainder. Now the next thing is why remainder? Matlab, importance of remainder, you can say. What is the importance of remainder? Remainder की importance क्या होती है? So suppose like if I'm taking a number 7 modulus 1. So basically, when I'm talking about this thing, one second. Okay. So basically, when I'm saying 7 modulus, suppose 2. Now, in that case, what you need to do, you need to divide it by 2, and then you will get result 1. Okay, fine. When I do 7 modulus 3, then I'll get the value 7 modulus 3 is, so 3 to the 6. So this is something like it is also giving me like 7 modulus 3, 3 to the 6, and that will give me 1 also. If I do 7 modulus 4, okay, so 7 modulus 4, 7 modulus 4 1 is 4, so that will give me 3. 7 modulus 5, so if I divide by 7, 5 1 is 5, 7 5, so it is actually giving me 2. 7 modulus 6, it is like if I divide it by, and if I just find the remainder, it will. And if I come to the place where 7 modulus 7, then it will give me the remainder 0. Okay. So the one thing here is, now the next thing is, जब when I'm asking about the importance of modulus, जब मैं importance of modulus की बात कर रहा हूँ, importance of modulus, then I'll just give you an example. जैसे suppose you are going for an interview, and now there are multiple interview panels. Okay, and suppose there are like imagine that there are 25 candidates. There are 25 candidates. And now in that case, what will happen? It's something like this is the panel 1, panel 0 आप कह लो, panel 1 कह लो, panel 2 कह लो, and panel 3 is there. Now in that case, you can see that like how many interviewers are there. So 25, like so how many candidates are there? So there are 25 candidates. Every candidate will be having some kind of ID. तो ये इसकी जो ID होगी पहले कैंडिडेट की 1 होगी. Second candidate will be having ID 2. तो जो पहला कैंडिडेट है वो यहाँ पे जाएगा. Second candidate will go to this place. Okay. Or even if I'm just writing in this way, sorry, अगर मैं इसको सिर्फ ऐसे लिख दूं, there are 4 panels actually. In the interview, there are 4 panels. Panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, and panel 4. Now imagine the first candidate is actually going to this one. So the first candidate says ID 1. Second candidate is actually going to this ID. Okay. So now the third candidate is actually coming to this place. The fourth panel candidate is actually coming to this place. Now the fifth candidate will come to this place. The sixth candidate will come to this place. The seventh candidate will go to this place. And eighth candidate will go to this place. So now if I ask you, like if I do one thing, अभी मैंने यहाँ पे I have done this calculation 5 6 7 8. 5 6 7 8. सो नाउ सपोज द फर्स्ट कैंडिडेट, जो पहला कैंडिडेट है, उसको अगर मैं मॉडुलस करके निकालता हूं, तो दिस इज 1 and 1 modulus. How many interview panels are there? 1 modulus 4. So what is the answer? What will be the answer for this one? 1 modulus 4. So just take 1 4 4 0 0 0, and then output will be 1. Okay, then output will be 1. Now if I write 2 modulus 4, what will be the output? 2 modulus 4. 2 modulus 4 कहने का मतलब क्या है कि 2 नीचे आएगा, 4 यहाँ पे आएगा, 4 0 0 0, that will give me 2. Okay. Similarly, if I just try to find 3 modulus 4, then what will be the output? 3. Okay. And now if I write 4 modulus 4, that will give me the output 0. So imagine that कि this 4 we are representing with 0. ये 4 नहीं है, 0 है मान लो. ठीक है. अब आते हैं इसके ऊपर. 5 modulus 4, what will be the output? 5 modulus 4. 5, 4 1 the 4, that will be give me 1. So it will give me output 1. 6 modulus 4, what will be the output? It will give me 2. 7 modulus 4, what is the output? It will give me 3. 8 modulus 4, what will be the output? 0. ठीक है. Now the next candidate is 9, 10, 11, 12. ठीक है. Now you just see one thing कि here the pattern is repeating. 1 first, second, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Now imagine that one of the candidate who is having a ID, जिसकी ID है मान लो, suppose there are 250 candidates, and one of the candidate who is having ID 127. Can you tell me like which interview panel he will go? कौन से इंटरव्यू पैनल पे जाएगा? Just directly find 127 modulus 4. And when you will do the division of with this 127 divided by 5, 4 3 are 12, 7, 4 1 are 4, 7 4 is 3. So 3 is the remainder. So he will directly go to the third panel. So this is the power of modulus. This is the power of modulus. This is the importance of modulus. When you are distributing something like in a uniform manner, and if suppose someone is asking me like what will be my you can say that in which room I will go, like if you want to distribute something uniformly, then modulus is a is a operator which you can use. Getting it? ठीक है. Now I'll recommend you like just second. I'm giving a scenario to you. I'm giving a problem statement to you. ठीक है, मैं आपको एक प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट दे रहा हूँ, एंड जस्ट एनालाइज दिस एंड टेल मी क्या इसका मतलब होगा. इट्स नॉट लाइक मतलब कोडिंग प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. इट इज नॉट अ कोडिंग प्रॉब्लम, इट इज अ सिचुएशन बेस्ड प्रॉब्लम. सो दिस इज अ सिनेरियो. ओके, एंड नाउ यू जस्ट नीड टू रीड इट. पहले आप समझो एंड देन टेल मी द आंसर. आई एम ऑल्सो पुटिंग इन चैट. ओके, एंड देन यू नीड टू गिव मी द एक्सपेक्टेड सॉल्यूशन. So just think about it. I have put the question in the chat. Anyone can explain this problem statement, what this problem statement is saying? कोई है जो समझा सकता है? Just put on the chat. I'll unmute you. Yes, Arijit.
Yeah, so the question is saying that should I explain in Hindi or English, sir?
Like थोड़ा सा mix up रख सकते हो because
Okay, fine.
there might be
तो सर क्वेश्चन ये
useful.
समझा रहा है कि गूगल के पास 4 हैंडलिंग सर्वर्स है जो रिक्वेस्ट हैंडल करते हैं। तो
हम्म
1000 रिक्वेस्ट आया गया है और वो
हम्म
सीक्वेंसली जैसे 1 2 3 4 इस तरह चल रहा है। तो इस तरह सीक्वेंस भी चलेगा। तो प्रॉब्लम ये दिया है कि 63rd नंबर रिक्वेस्ट कौन सा सर्वर हैंडल करेगा।
ओके, तो ठीक है, तो कैसे आपने आंसर निकाला?
सर आंसर इससे निकाला कि जैसे फर्स्ट का हैंडल करेगा नंबर 1 नंबर सर्वर, सेकंड का हैंडल करेगा 2 नंबर सर्वर, थर्ड का हैंडल करेगा 3 नंबर सर्वर, फोर का हैंडल करेगा 4 नंबर सर्वर, पर जो 5 का हैंडल करेगा वो फर्स्ट नंबर सर्वर हैंडल करेगा सर। इस तरह निकाला
ओके,
सर।
ठीक है, नाइस। एनीवन एल्स? यस विशाल।
So simply you have to take the remainder. Firstly, you have to operate that. Simply divide करोगे, जैसे 4 सर्वर्स हैं, 63 रिक्वेस्ट आपको देखना है, तो 63 ऑपरेटर जो है हमारा मॉडुलस 4, मतलब 63 मॉडुलस 4 and the simple remainder is 3, then third server will handle this.
ओके, ठीक है, ठीक है। सो गाइज आई आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन। सो या लाइक nicely explained. One second. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen and then I'll explain you. तो ठीक है, तो इसमें आपको ये समझने की जरूरत है गाइस कि लाइक व्हाई आई हैव गिवन when I was asking about this problem, imagine Google has 4 server handling requests, more than 1,000 requests are coming in sequentially. Each request is number sequence starting from one. Problem is determine which server will process the 63rd request. Now होता क्या है, like when we talk about servers, ठीक है, तो servers के system पे basically what used to happen is like now this is something like Google servers. This is something known as Google servers. And now what server used to do? Suppose there is a person, Ramu, and now Ramu is actually working on his system. And now suppose he's trying to open a website like google.com. Google.com. Now in that case, what will happen? He will, when he's actually writing google.com, then that request will go to the Google server. Now the Google server will respond with the google.com page. It will say that, okay, this is your google.com page, I'm responding you. Now imagine that there are many people, because you know that it's not like only this Ramu is actually at any particular instant is trying to access the Google. There are a lot of people actually, and it's not, the count is not limited to 1,000. It's limited to lakhs, millions, like a lot of. Okay. Now you can say that suppose a million of people are actually accessing the server. If million of people are giving the request to this Google server, then in that case, what will happen? Automatically, this server might have some capacity. Suppose the server will be having 100 GB of RAM. This is at the end, this is a computer only ना. तो अगर इसकी 100 GB of RAM भी है तो बट कोई तो लिमिट होगी ना कि at this point the server will go down. Okay. Now, to how Google is actually solving this problem is they are actually putting multiple servers. They have actually put multiple servers. उन्होंने क्या कर दिया? Multiple servers रख दिए. Now, if suppose many people are actually again giving the request. If many people are actually giving the request, then in that case, what will happen? Again, if these many people are actually giving the server to Google server, then in that case, what will happen? Suppose this person is actually giving the request, this person will giving the request, this person is giving the request. Okay, now these server will work together to make sure that there will be no. It's something like there will be no server down kind of problem happen, ताकि कोई सर्वर डाउन ना हो और सबकी रिक्वेस्ट को सर्व किया जाए. दिस इज एग्जैक्टली सिमिलर लाइक बैंक्स. आई थिंक यू हैव सीन बैंक्स. इन बैंक्स में क्या होता है, लाइक सपोज देर आर मल्टीपल काउंटर्स. सपोज यू वांट टू डिपॉजिट अ मनी और विड्रॉ मनी, लाइक सपोज यू वांट टू डिपॉजिट समथिंग, सो देर विल बी मल्टीपल काउंटर्स. And now in this multiple counter, basically what is happening? So whenever a queue is actually getting formed in the banks, so there are many people who are actually standing in a line. And now what is happening? So he is actually going to this place, he's going to the second one, he's going to the third one. Automatically, everyone request is getting fulfilled. And now the bank, it's something like bank system is going in a very stable manner. ओके. बैंक में हम कब कहेंगे कि भाई बहुत बड़ी दिक्कत है? दिक्कत कब है? लाइक सपोज इफ देर इज ओनली वन काउंटर, इफ देर इज वन काउंटर देन व्हाट विल हैपन? द क्यू विल कीप ऑन फॉर्म. ठीक है. और क्यू इतनी बड़ी थी कि 1 किलोमीटर की क्यू लग गई. बैंक से शुरू हुई थी और गवर्नमेंट अस्पताल तक लगी रही. सो द मेन पॉइंट हेयर इज कि the bank is actually not solving the problem that efficiently. So similar kind of thing used to happen in like in the kind of a server thing which I have told you. The bigger the like if you are actually, Google is one of the things which people are using a lot. Instagram is one of the things, so they need to make sure that their limited number, their X number of servers should be there which can respond. But now still the problem is there. बैंक में आपने एक चीज देखी होगी कि इफ सपोज देर आर मल्टीपल काउंटर, डिपॉजिट 1, डिपॉजिट 2, डिपॉजिट 3, डिपॉजिट 4, एंड सपोज देर इज अ क्यू, people are actually standing here. Now I think you have already seen that in the queue in the bank there is something known as security guard. So what security guard used to do? Okay, like just he used to send this person to this place, he used to send the next person to this place कि वहां जाओ, he used to send this person to this place. Okay, वो क्यू खाली हो गई, वहां जाओ. So basically, this security guard, what he is doing is he is balancing the load. वो जो load है उसको बैलेंस करने का काम कर रहा है, बैलेंसिंग द लोड, सो दैट ऐसा ना हो कि सारे लोगों ने लाइन यही लगा दी. ठीक है, D1 काउंटर में शर्मा जी बैठे हुए थे जो सब बहुत अच्छे हैं, बहुत अच्छे नेचर के हैं, इसका मतलब ये थोड़ी ना सारी क्यों वहीं लगा दो. So main thing is कि we need to distribute the load. So that is the main challenge. So if I'm talking about like Google server, so that is also a main challenge for the Google server also. Even you are putting multiple servers, server 1, server 2, server 3, server 4. It might happen that if people requests are coming, if suppose these many people are actually requesting the server, it might possible that they all requesting to the same server and all the other server will become idle. So in that case, how we can solve this problem? We'll solve this problem using modulus. How modulus will solve this problem? Even if you are like, if suppose this is you sitting with your computer, this is you sitting with your computer, like another person, the third one, like there are like a lot many. And every request, suppose this request has an ID, इस request की कुछ ID है ID1, इसकी request की ID ID2, इसकी रिक्वेस्ट की आईडी ID3. Similarly, many requests are coming. Suppose this request has ID 4000. So what will happen is we will put a system in between. हम एक system बीच में रख देंगे. And now these are servers. So this is something like system is my security guard. Now what will happen? This is server 2. This is server 1. This is server 3. This is server 4. Now every time whenever the request will come, so now the system knows that how many server we have. हमारे पास 4 server है. हमारे पास 4 server है. So whenever the one request will come, it will try to find the 1 modulus 4. Okay, तुम 1 के पास जाओ. 2 modulus 4. 2 के पास जाओ. 3 modulus 4. 3 के पास जाओ. 4000 modulus 4. आई थिंक इसका कितना आएगा? इसका 0 आएगा. ओके, 0 आएगा. तो बेसिकली व्हेन आई एम सेइंग 0, तो 4 को आप 0 मान लो, जो लास्ट सर्वर है उसको 0 मान लो. जस्ट गो टू 0. नाउ सपोज यू आर सेइंग 4003, it will give me 4003 modulus 4. So I think the remainder will be 3. It will say that go to third server. Now in this way what will happen? The load will get distributed. And in that case, no system will get set idle. So this system, which you are seeing in between, which we have placed, this is known as load balancer. इसको हम कहते हैं लोड बैलेंसर इन रियल वर्ल्ड. Okay, and different algorithms are actually used. This is just a general algorithm which I have shown you. So that's why this is a modulus thing. So I hope everyone understood this. Okay, getting it? So that is the main point which I want to like explain, like what is the point of modulus. तो आप ऐसे ना सोचो कि यार मॉडुलस तो छोटी मोटी चीज है, ये छोटी मोटी चीज नहीं है. It really like you can say that it's a big thing. Now, I just want to explain you the next part. The next concept is like when I'm talking about Java, ठीक है, Java provides us actually something. Java provides us a math class. Java हमें एक class provide करता है जिसका नाम होता है math. Okay, this is the math class. So now, and so basically this math class, when I'm talking about class math, ठीक है, ये क्लास हमें प्रोवाइड करता है. और ये क्लास, ये मैथ जो क्लास होती है, ये बेसिकली किस, तो मैं पहले आपको एक चीज बताता हूँ, पहले कंसेप्ट बताता हूँ. इन जावा देर इज समथिंग नोन एज पैकेज. एक पैकेज होता है जिसको हम कहते हैं, ठीक है. एंड इन दैट पैकेज यू कैन क्रिएट डिफरेंट डिफरेंट क्लासेस. इस पैकेज के अंदर यू कैन क्रिएट डिफरेंट डिफरेंट क्लासेस. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू हैव क्रिएटेड अ मैथ क्लास. Similarly, you have created a something like a file class, like something like that. Similarly, you will be having lot of classes which you have created. Now, in this math class, it is actually providing some kind of functions. Functions like, suppose you want to calculate a power of it, power of something. Suppose you want to find the square root. Suppose you want to find the absolute value. Suppose you want to find a floor value. Like all these math function, जितने भी math function है ना, सब math class के अंदर define मिलेंगे. And when you want to use the file function, so basically there will be something like known as read, write. If you want to read a file, if you want to write a file, something like that. Using a program, you want to write a file, something. So this is something like defined under file class. Similarly, we will be having different class under some package. एक package के अंदर सारी चीजें लिखी जाती है. तो उसी तरह से हमारा एक पैकेज होता है जावा में. In our Java, there is a one package whose name is java.lang. So it's something like a library. Okay, it's something like a library. And in this library, you can say that lot of classes, lot of books you will get available. So one of the book which I want to talk about is this is known as math class. एक क्लास होती है जिसको हम कहते हैं math class. Okay, and in this math class, there are many functions which are defined. So one of the few functions which I want to mention here is the one of the function is math.pow. So this is something like how we used to use. So what math.pow use? Like in this math.pow, you can give two numbers. If you are giving these two number 2 comma 2, then what it will do? It will find 2 to the power 2, that will be 4. So I'll just show you how we can use this. So problem 6.java. So now if I just copy this code, if I come here and if I just copy this thing, and now if I write here, and if I just remove everything now, and just I'm removing this part final. Now suppose if I am writing int x, inside x, I want to store something. So I'm first, you need to write the library name math. Okay, this is math. Just see it, where it is coming. It is java.lang. It is actually inside java.lang. Java.lang is the package, is the library. एक लाइब्रेरी के अंदर किताबें मिलती हैं, किताबें के अंदर आपको डेटा मिलता है. ओके, तो हियर आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट अ बेसिकली मैथ क्लास. सो मैथ डॉट, ठीक है, एंड देन यू नीड टू राइट द फंक्शन विच यू कैन यूज. सपोज यू वांट टू फाइंड द पावर. इफ यू वांट टू राइट द पावर, देन जस्ट टाइप द पैरामीटर्स. अब इसके अंदर आप वैल्यू डाल सकते हो. इसके अंदर you can put some values, but the value you need to put in this manner. Suppose the first thing is 3 comma 2, so it will find 3 to the power 2. It will find 3 to the power 2. If I just write x equal to, so you can see this, like, so it will give me the value of x. So if I Java problem 4 dot, so not problem 4, problem 6, and here I'll change the name problem 6, and if I run it, then you will find that what it will do, it will give me the output. Okay, so now it is saying that the output is we cannot store in this one, so incompatible types. इसका मतलब क्या है? The value which it is giving, it is not in the integer type. वो integer type की वैल्यू नहीं दे रहा है, वो किसी बड़े डेटा टाइप की वैल्यू दे रहा है. तो यहां से देखते हैं, हमेशा एरर मैसेज को पढ़ना सीखो. तो एरर मैसेज फ्रॉम लॉसी कन्वर्जन, ये मतलब डबल देने की कोशिश कर रहा है. एंड हम, ये वही वाली बात है, ये हमें अमृत देने की कोशिश कर रहा है और हमने भिखारी वाला कटोरा पकड़ा है. तो अब हम इस भिखारी वाले कटोरे से हटा के इसको हम डबल कर देंगे. ओके, एंड नाउ व्हाट आई विल डू इज, if I run it, now let's see what will happen. So most of the things you will get from, like, you just need to read the errors, and most of the answer you will get it from there. So now it is saying x equal to 9.0. Okay, now you are getting your answer. So similarly, we have like other functions also. So I'll just want to talk about these. So suppose if you want to find, ठीक है, तो गाइस एक तो तरीका ऐसे होता है कि मैंने एक वेरिएबल के अंदर डाल के आपको एक्स यहाँ पे प्रिंट करा. दूसरा तरीका क्या होता है, आई जस्ट कमेंट दिस थिंग. फॉर नाउ आई जस्ट कमेंट दिस थिंग. ओके, आई कॉपी इट एंड आई कमेंट इट. अगर आपको डायरेक्ट आउटपुट देखना है तो जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको वेरिएबल के अंदर ही स्टोर करना है. सो बेसिकली हियर आई एम जस्ट डायरेक्टली पुटिंग द फंक्शन हियर. मैं डायरेक्टली इस चीज को यहीं लिख देता हूँ. इट विल ऑल्सो गिव मी द डायरेक्ट वैल्यू. यू डोंट नीड टू पुट इन अ वेरिएबल. अगर मैं यहाँ पे सिर्फ आपको आउटपुट दिखाना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं वेरिएबल बना बना के थक गया हूँ. ओके, अभी जस्ट बिकॉज आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू यूज दोज वैल्यूज राइट नाउ, आई जस्ट वांट टू शो यू द आउटपुट. सो जो भी मैं लिखूंगा सिस्टम डॉट आउट डॉट प्रिंटलन के, आई जस्ट राइट इनसाइड इट. सो नाउ दिस इज फॉर मैथ डॉट पावर. नाउ द सेकंड वन इज, like suppose there is another function which is known as, yeah, like this is not looking good, so let's do one thing, same वैसे ही रखते हैं, double x. Now I'll write double y. Now double y, and in this y what I'll do, I'll use another function that is known as sqrt. That is the square root. Square root means 16 का square root. What is the square root of 16? That is 4. Now if you want to find the absolute value, double z, absolute value. What is the meaning of absolute value? Absolute value means always give me positive value. Absolute -12 का absolute क्या होता है? 12. ओके, -12 का एब्सोल्यूट क्या होता है? 12. 6 का एब्सोल्यूट क्या होता है? 6. एब्सोल्यूट के अंदर वट एवर यू विल पुट, इट विल ऑलवेज गिव यू द पॉजिटिव वैल्यू. सो दिस इज समथिंग लाइक दिस वन. नाउ वी हैव अनदर फंक्शन, दिस इज नोन एज math dot floor. Math dot floor में basically suppose if I am writing 2.6, so I'll explain you what it will do. So we have also double m equals to math dot seal 3.4. Okay, and we have also another function that is double. So these function you will be using it later. So this is something known as round off if you want to do the round. So similarly we have lot of function. हमारे मैथ के अंदर काफी सारे function which are actually available. Now suppose if I am just doing it, if I am just printing it 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5, and now here I'll write this. So basically here I'll write y, here I'll write z, here I'll write w, here I'll write m, here I'll write n. So here my x, y, z, and w, m, and n. So if I run it, so now let's see what will happen. I'll explain you each of it, what it is doing. Guys, don't worry, and at the end of every session I'll also provide you the notes. ठीक है, notes में आपको सारी चीजें मिल जाएंगी. So basically here you can see this like 3, 2. Now what I'll do is, basically I'll just show. So 3 to the power 2, that is 9, 9.0 output is coming. Square root 16 under root of square root क्या आता है? 4. So here you can see that Absolute of value, so positive value, that is 12. So 12 is actually coming here. Floor value, floor का मतलब क्या होता है? 2.6. When I'm talking floor value, so देखो, always remember one thing, there are two kind of values. So one of the value is floor value and another of the value is seal value. Seal मतलब जो आपकी सीलिंग होती है, आपकी छत, ओके, एंड फ्लोर इज जमीन. तो व्हाट इज द सीलिंग वैल्यू? सीलिंग वैल्यू बेसिकली मींस जो इसकी, यू कैन से दैट इसका अपर अपर थिंग है. लाइक अभी जस्ट हम लेट्स गो टू द फ्लोर वैल्यू. द फ्लोर वैल्यू इज, यू जस्ट नीड टू गो टू 2.0. सो दिस इज द फ्लोर वैल्यू. Whenever you, if I ask you 3.8, what is the floor value? 3.0. When if I am, someone is asking what is the seal value, so just go to last one, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, 3. So the ceiling value will be 3. So this is something like, जब भी ceiling value निकालनी है छत को देखो, जब floor value निकालनी है जमीन को देखो. So that is the main point. So this is the, if I am asking the floor value, that you are getting 2.0. When I'm asking the ceiling value 3.4, just go to the last of it. So that is 4.0. Math dot round. If you need to do the round off, so you can see that here the value is 5. So if it is 5, then it will get rounded. So only the mathematical concept I'm talking about here. So you will be using it, मतलब आपको बाद में जरूरत पड़ेगी, but यहाँ पे it is very important that like you should be aware of it. Okay. Now the second thing which I want to talk about is गाइस, देखो थोड़ा सा टाइम का इशू रहेगा, ठीक है. मॉड्यूलर्स आई हैव डिस्कस्ड अ लॉट, मैंने उसमें काफी चीजें डिस्कस करी हैं. आप व्हाट यू कैन डू इज यू कैन जस्ट नोट डाउन योर डाउट्स, ओके, ड्यूरिंग योर स्टैंड अप. योर आई विल हेल्प यू. टाइम इज लिमिटेड, चीजें काफी कवर करनी है, तो सेशन में थोड़ा सा ऐसा रहेगा. मे बी आई वोंट बी एबल टू टेक योर डाउट्स, मतलब हर चीज नहीं ले पाऊँ, बट फ्यू थिंग्स विच आई विल बी एबल टू सी ऑन द चैट, उसको आई ट्राई टू आंसर इट. Okay, so the point here is, because you are learning this thing first time, that's why there might be few things which will come up. So I would recommend this one thing, just note down all those pointers. And solving all the doubt in the class, that might like thoda challenging वहाँ पे होगा, because things are there which need to complete. Okay, so if you have anything, you can, what you can do is you can just put on the chat. ठीक है, भगवान की कृपा रही तो मैंने चैट में देख लूंगा एंड आई विल गिव यू द आंसर. बट द अदर थिंग इज, हो सकता है मैं अपनी उसी में फ्लो में चलता रहूं. सो डू वन थिंग, जस्ट पुट ऑन द चैट योर वट एवर योर डाउट, जस्ट राइट ऑन द चैट. Okay, so now the thing is solving the expression. Solving the expression. Now, if you need to solve the expression, then in that case, uh, okay, so one of the student is asking, so this is a nice question. This is a good question. कि even though values are not very good, even though मतलब values तो इतनी बड़ी है भी नहीं, 3 to the power 2, if you just calculate, कि even though values are not very big, then why the integer is not able to hold this? देखो, the reason for that is, this is actually in the math class, this is a function they have created. Function you will learn in like in third week. So in function, you actually in function में ना आपके you have the capability that what kind of value you want to give. Okay, it's something like, suppose you are going in a store, okay, and now you are asking for a milk. You are saying I want Amul milk. Now the person is actually giving you the Amul milk packet. तो आपने बोला नहीं नहीं, मैं अपना बर्तन लेके आया हूँ, उसमें भर के दे दो. उन्होंने कहा भाई ऐसे नहीं देते हैं, ये पैकेट ले जाओ. Okay, this is the packet which is actually they got from the company. So similarly, always remember, whenever we talk about any function, so it is the responsibility of the function what data type they want to give. So this power function is saying that I will give only double value. मेरे को तुमसे मतलब नहीं है, तुम छोटा बर्तन लाओ या छोटी वैल्यू लाओ, बड़ी वैल्यू लाओ, मुझे तुमसे कोई मतलब नहीं है. बट एट एनी पॉइंट आई विल गिव यू ओनली द डबल वैल्यू. ठीक है, so that's why these data types are actually returning the data double value. So when you will learn function, there you will get an understanding कि how the in function we can define the data type which we I want to give. ठीक है, तो डबल एक्स ने हाथ आगे बढ़ाया, तो जब ये इंटीजर था, तो जब उसका हाथ छोटा था, तो बट इसने कहा कि भाई ऐसा नहीं चलेगा, आई विल गिव यू द आउटपुट ओनली इन डबल. डबल ला सकते हो तो दो, तभी मैं वैल्यू दूंगा तुम्हें, तो तभी इट एक्चुअली रिटर्न द वैल्यू. सो दैट्स वाई, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट अबाउट द की कैलकुलेशन वट एवर यू वांट टू डू. यहाँ पे बेसिकली वी आर यूजिंग द फंक्शन, तो हमें देखना पड़ेगा कि वो फंक्शन हमें देना क्या चाहता है. ओके सर, ऑल मैथ फंक्शन गिव आउटपुट इन डबल. सो बेसिकली इन दैट केस यू नीड टू सी द डॉक्यूमेंटेशन. ओके, अभी देखते हैं. There is something which is known as documentation, math documentation in Java. तो आपको डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में पढ़ना पड़ेगा कि बेसिकली व्हाट इट इज एक्चुअली गिविंग. सो इफ आई गो टू द डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, नाउ यू कैन सी दैट लाइक दिस इज द एब्सोल्यूट व्हाट इट इज रिटर्निंग. इट इज रिटर्निंग फ्लोट यहाँ पे. ओके, इट इज रिटर्निंग डबल. एबीएस इज रिटर्निंग लॉन्ग वैल्यू. someone is returning double value. So here in the documentation you will get it. Documentation एक किताब होती है जो developers लिखते हैं. This is a book which is written by the developer, those who created this language. And if the developers want like differently, so you can just directly go to the documentation. But this part will also come in third week. Okay, right now it's just that to give you the context. That's why I've like given you this thing. ओके, सो अभी हम उतने डेप्थ में नहीं जा रहे हैं, बट लेटर इन द जब आगे वाले सेशन में विल गो इन मोर डेप्थ. नाउ दिस इज समथिंग लाइक सॉल्विंग द एक्सप्रेशन. नाउ यू नीड टू रिमेंबर वन थिंग, वेन एवर यू आर राइटिंग एनी एक्सप्रेशन, that you need to use the brackets. Always remember this thing whenever you are actually solving any kind of expression. So suppose if I copy it, if I paste it here, now in this one, what I'll do is, I'll suppose if I'm writing int a equal to 2, int b equal to 2, int a equal to 3, int b equal to 2, okay, int c equal to 4. So basically when I'm writing this, now in that case, suppose if I want to calculate the sum, so sum equals to a into 2, okay, plus b into 2 plus c into 2. So basically here you can see that like this is the sum 1. But now suppose if I am writing in this manner, अगर मैं इसको ऐसे लिख दूं और बिना ब्रैकेट के लिखूं, okay, now in that case, like if I just print this value sum 1 and sum 2, so this is my sum 1 and this is my sum 2. Sum 1 and this is my sum 2. Now if I write this thing and if I write Java problem 6, now let's see what will be the output. अभी now you can see a difference कि यहाँ पे basically, sorry, this should be problem 7. I want to output someone and some two. अभी यहाँ पे basically you can see that कि my both of it are actually giving the same value. Okay, I have used the brackets here, but I haven't used the bracket here. But अगर मैं यहाँ पे basically if I just do this thing multiplication, then I need to check will happen. So difference इससे भी नहीं आएगा. Difference इस चीज से आएगा like if I'm writing C plus and if I run it, so now you can see that the output is actually different. Why? Because here I want to do some operation, but here I'm not showing, मतलब sum 2 में I haven't used the brackets, but in the sum 1 I have used the bracket. Might be this language is actually using some kind of rule to do the calculation, जैसे हम mathematics में use BODMAS rule. Similarly, the computer programming language also use some kind of formula, some kind of way to do the calculation. So that's why this is very important that whenever you are doing the calculation, always put the brackets. Why? Because when you will put the brackets, then programming language will understand that, oh, you want me to calculate this first. ठीक है, मैं पहले इसको calculate करता हूँ. और अगर आपने bracket नहीं दिया, then in that case, what will happen? It will like give you some random output. Getting it? Okay, so that's why it is very important that like you are actually basically what you are doing is you are actually giving a this thing, you are putting a brackets, and that is the main thing. Now I'm coming to the next topic, that is string concatenation. String concatenation. I already explained this to you is, मैंने आपको ये चीज पहले ही समझाई है कि whenever you are actually, whenever you want to whenever like if I was talking about the plus operator, and if you want to add two numbers, then you will use plus operator. But if there is a string on left side and if there is a string on right side, then in that case it will do the concatenation. ठीक है, टूटे हुए रिश्तों को जोड़ देगा. So basically what it will do is whatever string you are giving, it will add it, it will concatenate it. So basically if I give you an example, problem 8.java. Now remember one thing, suppose if I am writing here problem 8 and isme basically if I am defining a name, suppose if I am defining a name here, string name, or suppose a equals to Masai school. Okay, string b equals to, मैं यहाँ पे लिखता हूँ a transformation in education. ठीक है, this is the line. Now I want to create a final line. If I want to create a final line, string c equals to a plus b. Now if I want to print it, system.out.println c. Now in that case, what will happen? It will concatenate both of it. So if I just type problem 8.java, now in that case, what it will do, it will can concatenate both of them. But now you can see that like what is happening here, कि यहाँ पे ना basically when it concatenate this with this, so you can see that the A is actually closed with A, मतलब A is actually attached with L. So what I'll do is I'll put a space here. What it will do is it will put a space here. But now still the problem is there. Why? Because now I want my output in a next line. मैं ऐसा output नहीं चाहता हूँ सारा एक ही line पे हो. So in that case, what I will do, there is a special operator. हमारे पास एक special operator होता है जिसको अगर आप codes के अंदर use करो, then it will automatically give the next line. So suppose if I'm using this operator in the end of this /n. So if I write /n, then in that case, automatically what will happen? It will basically put the another line, मतलब जो भी next आएगा वो next line पे आएगा. अगर मैंने एक और /n लगा दिया, now let's see what will happen. Now there will be two spaces. You can see that one space, like one line तो आ ही गया था. When I have put 2/n, so now there will be एक तो next line and the another line. So it will actually, the output will come to the third line. So this is how the output is actually getting printed. Okay, getting it? Now this is how like we can basically इसी को use करके, like using this we can solve many problems. So suppose if I'm saying problem 9.java, and suppose you know that like in your home string, suppose you are saying what is your house number, So suppose if I'm saying 48, 48 is my house number. String, suppose if I'm writing area. Sarojini Nagar. ठीक है. And suppose if I'm saying what is my string city. So if I'm saying string city is Mumbai. So I can create a full address using this. Okay. So I think you already remember that whenever website used to take, like any website used to take your address. So it's something like first give your house number, give your area, give your city, give your pin code and everything. Now tell me if I want to store a Aadhaar card, if I want to store a Aadhaar card, now what should be the data type? What should be the data type of it? क्या data type होना चाहिए? Okay, long डबल इंट. ठीक है गाइज. लाइक देखो, ऑलवेज रिमेंबर वन थिंग यहाँ पे. आई जस्ट वांट टू क्लियर दिस कि फॉर आधार कार्ड द डेटा टाइप शुड बी स्ट्रिंग. व्हाई इट शुड बी स्ट्रिंग? व्हाई इट शुड बी स्ट्रिंग? देखो, रिमेंबर वन थिंग. whenever you are doing any kind of calculation na, like if you want to do any perform any calculation, then only use these data type double, int, long. But those numbers, like even Aadhaar card actually containing the combination of numbers. Okay, but that number we won't be doing any kind of calculation on it. Like we won't be doing multiplying on your Aadhaar card into multiply by 2 or adding something. Aadhaar card will remain static. Similarly, your license number. Similarly, your voter ID card. So all these things which are unchangeable, right? Which we don't want, like which on which we won't be able to, we won't be performing any kind of calculation. जिसके ऊपर आप कैलकुलेशन नहीं लगाते हो, उसको आप स्ट्रिंग में रखो. Even if it is a number also. Okay, so suppose you can see that, like suppose there is an Aadhaar card, so that is an important thing which you need to remember. Don't define with this thing कि okay number है, so in that case I'll use the long, double and int or these kind of thing. Even PAN card also. Just ये सोचो ना, whatever the number you want me, you are asking me to like put in a data type. So whether you will be going to perform some operation on it. आप PAN card के number का करोगे क्या? Multiply करोगे उसमें 2 का, या उसमें 10 से divide करोगे क्या उससे 10 से divide करके? So at the end, that information we required as like whenever websites are taking those information, so they are just receiving that information just as a record. Okay, what is your identity? So always remember whenever you are defining like the data type. Key, and you like how will you define that key, which data type I should use? Just always focus on that, like what kind of thing you are taking from the user. Whenever you used to make any kind of application ना, जब आप कोई application बनाओ, तो always think that कि which data type I should pick. So that's why like this is very important. Now we have another data type. अब हमारे पे एक और data type होता है. So this is something like string. We have something known as boolean. हमारे पास एक boolean data type होता है. So boolean data type is something. Suppose if I'm asking you, if I ask you some question, uh, do you smoke? गंदा सा हो गया, sorry. Do you drive? तो आप इसका आंसर ऐसे नहीं दोगे कि मतलब कोई लंबा समथिंग लाइक बिगर एक्सप्लेनेशन. यू विल जस्ट से ट्रू और फॉल्स, yes or no. So there are few things I think you have seen in the websites, like they just ask you for that, like whether you have this thing or not, so you are just answering in yes and no. So those values are known as boolean values. Boolean you can only answer in either in false or either in true. Okay, either in false or either in true. So suppose if I'm talking about this, Now here, if I write 10 and if I remove this thing, so you will understood it. Here, if I'm writing Boolean, and Boolean, if I'm asking you like driving, so basically you might answer me in true. So you don't need to put in quotes. मतलब उसको आपको उसके अंदर uh, like inverted comma, you don't need to put in inverted commas. Okay, automatically define that. Okay, this is the Boolean. So if I print a Boolean value, अगर मैं if I print a Boolean value, now let's see what will happen. If I print a Boolean value, now it is giving me true. And remember one thing, this and this, this and this is different. Okay, these two are not same. Even if I run it, okay, इसको मैं रन करता हूं, if I'm running it, so even both are actually giving true thing, but these are actually different. Okay, the Boolean only understand this kind of thing. So suppose if I'm writing in this true, suppose if in the Boolean data type, if I'm writing hello world, now let's see what will happen. The Boolean used to say this thing, I will only take the true or false only. Okay, so now you can see that incompatible type string cannot be converted to Boolean. So Boolean basically means either you can put true or either you can put false. So that is the main thing. डोंट मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि एक डेटा टाइप में दूसरी वैल्यू रख रहे हो, इंटीजर के अंदर स्ट्रिंग की वैल्यू रख रहे हो, inside string you are putting integer value, so it will say that like the Java will give you an error, incompatible type. So now you can see that false and true, but this is actually different. Okay, this is not Boolean, this is just a string. Got it everyone? So this concept is very important. Now I'm giving you one task. I'm giving you one task basically. The task is basically you need to create a Java program, to print personal information, and okay, you have session with Yogesh at what time? Okay, ठीक है. So basically name, age, has driving license, ये आप homework में करना, and just take a snapshot of it, and citizen of India. So basically you just need to identify which data type you will be using, and like क्या चीज basically आप करोगे. So basically this is the problem statement which you need to do. Okay, ठीक है guys, that's all, and I'll I'll just I will be sharing these notes with you. Okay, these are the notes which I have discussed in the today's session, and whatever I taught you today, and everything you will got it from here. Okay, so this is a like good resource to revise things. आज फिर भी हमने मैथमेटिकल तो कर दिया, लेकिन अभी आज हमारा जावा अभी रिलेशनल ऑपरेटर नहीं हुआ है. रिलेशनल ऑपरेटर एंड कंडीशनल वी विल सी टुमारो यू विल बी हैविंग सेशन विद मी ऑन सैटरडे. ठीक है, एट आई थिंक सेम टाइम 11:30, एंड आई हैव शेड्यूल्ड दैट सेशन विद यू ऑल, सो दैट विल कवर द दिस थिंग जहाँ पे भी हम वी आर लैगिंग. ओके, अगर असाइनमेंट में कोई इशू आया, डोंट वरी, टुमारो आई विल डिस्कस इट. ओके, थैंक यू एवरीवन, टेक केयर. ओके, बाय.